a portion of the season where the starters are only going so many innings because they're still stretching their arms out. But 11 runs in 4 innings is too much. That's way too much. Or, I'm sorry, 11 runs in 4 games. The most disturbing thing to me was Saturday, and Dellin Betances, I don't know what's going on with him. Kevin Pillar for the Blue Jays singled, then stole second rather easily, stole third even more easily,
Right.
and then wound up stealing home. Betances was looking at him and was almost powerless to do anything about it. Pillar broke for the plate. He was taking a huge lead off of third.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like,
and you were about to say that was great. No, it wasn't great.
I thought it was great because you don't see stolen home.
It wasn't great. It was awful.
You don't see. Let me tell you back. You don't see home plate being stolen.
It's rare.
Yeah, I know. That's why.
No, it wasn't great. So, but Betances, he saw him. He couldn't have not seen him breaking for the plate, and he did everything right. He didn't freak out. But he stepped off the rubber like you have to, otherwise it's a balk, and he threw the ball home. But his throw to the plate was so wide and such a horrible throw. This is a pitcher. He makes his living hitting spots and throwing the ball where he wants to. And when Pillar was running home to steal home, his throw was abysmal. And Dellin Betances is already a guy who he's 6'8". He's a huge guy. I mean, he's like Judge size, except maybe 50 pounds less. But he's got an enormous leg kick, and that's always been an issue for him. But it's not so much an issue when you don't let many guys on base. And after the All-Star break last year, I don't want to say the second half because I think last year after the All-Star break there was about 50 games left in the season. But last year after the All-Star break, he ran into problems. He kind of lost his command. He was walking a lot of guys. He couldn't throw strikes. Joe Girardi took him out of his eighth inning role, and he had been the closer earlier in the season when Chapman had struggled.
Right.
And I don't know that we're seeing that because he's throwing strikes. So his command is still there, but it was disturbing to see Pillar taking liberties.
Yeah, well.
And anybody with any kind of speed, they're going to look at that and say, we can do that too.
They will.
And that's not a good thing because, it's fine if Betances doesn't let anybody get on base, which is the way a lot of his innings go, is 1, 2, 3, and that's all well and good. But is that going to make Aaron Boone now think twice about bringing Betances into a one-run game? Because if a speed guy gets on first base, he's going to be on third before you know it.
That's right.
And the Yankees aren't going to be able to do much about it. And Gary Sanchez has a cannon. He threw out Curtis Granderson the other day. Granderson, I know, is 37 years old.
The Grandy man.
He's 37, but he's still pretty quick.
He's still very quick.
And Gary Sanchez fired a bullet right on the bag to get Granderson.
Any other placement, 1 or 5 inches in any different direction, he's safe.
The throw was perfect.
It was a perfect throw.
I saw that. He got rid of the ball so fast, I couldn't believe it. He threw it out.
Hey, that was great. So,
but that's and the outfield right now for the Yankees is another issue because this is the weird part about baseball. A month ago, we're sitting here talking about the Yankees in spring training and how many outfielders do they have and how are they going to find playing time for all these guys? And they just traded Chase Headley for Jabari Blash from the Padres, and then 2 days later they released Jabari Blash because he was like the 7th outfielder they had, and we don't need these many outfielders. Just why, whatever. Well, now the Yankees have 3 outfielders.
Right.
Clint Frazier is still on a disabled list with a concussion that he suffered in at least a month ago in spring training. Jacoby Ellsbury is on the disabled list with a strained oblique that happened in spring training. Aaron Hicks, as everybody knows or should know, suffered a strained intercostal muscle, which I'm not really sure what that is, but it's kind of an oblique, I guess.
Sounds
or something
painful.
Oblique-ish. And he's now on the disabled list. So the Yankees called up Billy McKinney from the minor leagues. And McKinney is a kid I like. He was a throw-in from the Cubs in the Aroldis-Chapman trade. So that trade just keeps on benefiting the Yankees. But this kid can hit. He's a bona fide 300 hitter and has been at pretty much every level he's been at. So when he came up, I was like, good. The kid's finally getting a reward. Had a great spring training. And let's get him some ABs and let's see what he could do in the major leagues. And what happens? 2 games into his career, he's chasing a ball down in the first inning on Saturday against the Blue Jays, and he runs into the wall. Ouch. Winds up, people, the announcers in the game, Michael Kay and whoever else, I think Coney was doing the game, they all thought he had a concussion because they thought he smacked his head on the wall because the wall out in Toronto, there's no padding. It's a screen, and they have a plastic covering on top of it. So he hit that. He wound up spraining his shoulder. And they left him in because he kept saying, well, I'm good. I didn't hit my head. No concussion. Right. And Boone, he said after the game, he said, oh, he looked sharp. He's answering questions. We thought he was good. Well, the next play, just so happens, next batter singles to left. Well, McKinney goes to throw the ball in, and the throw had nothing on it. And McKinney doubled over after the throw to the extent where I've never even seen this. Neil Walker catches the ball at second base. The throw comes in, and he's looking out in left field like he's saying, all right, something's wrong here.
Oh, yeah.
Something's not right because this throw has nothing on it. And look at this kid. He's in obvious pain. Hey, somebody get out there and let's get this kid out of the game. Because Brett Gardner was supposed to get the day off.
Right.
And so Brett Gardner now winds up playing 8 innings. Okay. So the Yankees they brought up Miguel Andujar. McKinney goes on the DL. But right now, like I said, three outfielders. Ellsbury is eligible to come off the 10-day disabled list on Thursday, but they don't even know if he's healthy enough to play. But they need to. Some guys are going to have to suck it up for a few days. Let's put it that way.
Oh, you hope so. We're going to take a break right now. You're listening to From the Press Box right here on 90.3 WHPC, the voice of Nassau Community College. By the way, we have a new URL for our website. It's Nassau NCC. Let me take this again. It's nccradio.org. It's the same fine website as before, but with an easier to remember name, nccradio.org.
The new Retro Mix, powered by Taylor Swift breakup songs.
I'm sorry, excuse me?
Adele's Sad Love Life.
What?
And Kanye West's Weirdness.
What? No. Stop the promo. Stop it. Stop. What did you just say?
The new Retro Mix.
Yeah, that's what I thought you said. What are you doing?
The Retro Mix promo.
You keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
Mix?
What do you... No!
Promo?
No, I mean...
The?
This is getting too silly.
Who was that?
I don't know!
All right, look, just give me the mic.
No.
Tyler, give me the mic, Tyler.
No.
Tyler, no! Give me the mic.
It's mine.
No, it's mine.
It's mine.
Got it. Okay. Now let me show you what retro really is. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, the Retro Mix is back with your favorite mix from the 50s to the 80s, and it's better than ever. I'm Colton Murray, your host, bringing this to you Monday from noon to 2. And the beat goes on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Shake off the realities of the day, broaden your musical horizons, and embrace the diversity every Monday afternoon at 6 on Revelations. The show offers a potently unique collection of music with an emphasis on themes and rock rarities, an occasional tour de force of blues and soul, mixed with compelling sets of folk and folk rock. I'm Steve Kay, and I've got the perfect soundtrack for your drive home every Monday afternoon at 6 on Revelations, right here on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Still remembering Stephen Bochco. Theme from Hill Street Blues. By the way, this past week, Rusty Staub died.
Also sad.
Very sad. And the funny thing about Rusty is he was so important to that 73 team. One of the early great trades, because the Mets haven't had really a lot of great trades in their lifetime.
No.
But this was, Tim Foley and Mike Jorgensen,
Yes.
and Ken Singleton, I think the three.
Yes.
Yeah, those three. For Rusty, now Singleton ended up being a very good player,
Great player.
But Rusty really helped the Mets. And one thing about Rusty they didn't talk about as much, and Tim, I know you've done this, different types of stories with this. Rusty Staub embraced New York City.
Absolutely. Well, you know what?
Some players don't.
He embraced most places that he played.
That's true.
And most places, in fact, all places he played, embraced him.
He had the foundation, which had no overhead. Literally, he would collect the money and then he would give it to the fire or the police or EMT.
The widows fund.
He had some of the best damn ribs I've ever had. Holy crap! I had them. Bob Tuck and I went there once. The Rusty's on Fifth, and the meat. I mean, literally just fell off. I mean, it was so good.
Rusty did barbecue in New York City when nobody did barbecue in New York City. Now it's like there's barbecue places.
And then he
all over
closed
the
it, unfortunately. I think it's partly because it was on Fifth Avenue and the rent and everything. But there were probably other things too.
Probably an early rent victim in New York City.
Yeah, and you know what the other thing about Rusty was?
I don't know.
His numbers were pretty damn good. He's not making the Hall of Fame, but you know what? His numbers are very good.
Well, Rusty was a guy who, first of all, I read the story by Bill Madden in the Daily News last week, which was outstanding. That's when I look at the state of journalism today, and you see so many places saying, "Oh, well, we got to hire somebody young, and we got, let's hire somebody who isn't going to be very expensive." This is what you get with a veteran journalist who's been around
and knows who to call.
Well, not even knows who to call. He knows. He just knows this stuff because he's lived it. Because he's done it. And Bill Madden, I'm sure this story was painful to write and sad to write for him because he lost a guy that he knew who probably was a friend.
Yeah, sure he was.
And but the stories that he was able to tell, I'm sure was just they rolled from one to another because he had written those stories already.
Right. Well, look at this. He was history of 279 batting, which ain't bad. 22 years of playing.
How many hits?
How many?
Something like 2,800.
27-16. If he had a couple of more seasons where he actually played a full season, because 79, he was
here's what
out.
happened.
81, he was out a little bit. So
here's what happened. When Rusty came back to the Mets, as much as he wanted to be back with the Mets, he was later in his career.
Yep.
He should have gone back to the American League because he could have DH'd. And apparently what I read in Madden's story was that Frank Cashin basically lied to Rusty.
Yeah.
Told him he was going to be a regular first baseman, signed him to a 3-year deal, but then after the first year of the deal, the Mets brought in Dave Kingman. Well, all right, now Rusty's a pinch hitter.
Yep.
Rusty maintains that he obviously had a lot more hits in his bat, but now he wasn't playing because here's Kingman. Kingman's got to play.
Unfortunately.
So that episode and that decision to come back to the Mets, I mean, Rusty didn't say it in so many words, but he basically thought that cost him 3,000 hits.
I agree, because if you look at the last 5 seasons, 81, 82, 83, 84, and 85, it's 70 games played, 112, 104, 78, and 54. Now, 54, the last season was,
You'll be able to check the at-bats. No, never mind the games, because a lot of those games were one at-bat.
Yeah, that's what they are, one at-bat. 45,
like the 112 games or whatever. How many at-bats
literally, it was one at-bat per game. Well, no, I take that back. 81 and 82 he played. 83, it was basically, he was pinch hitting.
How many at-bats?
No.
It's an easy question.
What do you mean, a total?
A-Bs. Just tell me
Total?
just those years.
I told you.
No, you didn't. You told me how many games he had.
He had 161, 219, 115, 72, and 45.
That's what I'm saying. The most was 200 and something.
Yeah, 219.
That's what an everyday player gets 219 at-bats in 50 games.
Right. So that was the bad part for him, the sad part. And he stayed around. He was a gentleman. Would have he gone into the Hall of Fame either way? It's at 3,000 hits? Maybe. I mean,
3,000 hits gives you real, especially when he retired.
Yeah.
3,000 hits
that
meant a lot more. I mean, the problem now with 3,000 hits, though, with some of these guys is there's steroid issues around some of these guys.
Right.
So, but Rusty, with 3,000 hits, he would have been a lock.
Yeah, he
Absolute
had
luck.
some great seasons, man.
He did.